they pan out, with the black male vote also swinging towards President Trump, it could be a momentous day for conservatives.
Let's get the first perspective this evening from Team Republican and speak to the former Deputy Assistant to President Trump, Seb Gorka. Welcome to the programme, Seb.
Thanks for having me.
How would you describe how you're feeling?
Look, I'd never want to tempt fate or paint the devil on the wall. Right now, the results for the Electoral College are following the very positive trend lines we've seen for the president for the last 3 weeks. So far, so good, Callum.
Okay, so the Electoral College right now on the Times website, Donald Trump 101 and Kamala Harris 71 is where things are standing. Where are you finding your optimism? What are the kind of data points that you've picked up, Seb, that you are looking at and saying, hang on, this could be all right, actually?
Two big things for conservatives. Number one, in a way that I wasn't even expecting, we broke the back of the tradition that conservatives only vote on election night. With the obscene, I live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we have 45 days of voting, not even an election month. It's an election month and a half. And the president was right to say, you've got to vote early. We need 90 or 100 million votes. That is not physically, empirically possible on election day alone. So conservatives, and my wife is the chair of the GOP in our county in Virginia, we have seen a 200% increase for early voting, specifically in rural, mostly Republican areas. So that's one fabulous, fabulous trend of the last month. And then secondly, something that nobody talks about, in addition to the obvious data for the swing states, the battleground states that President Trump has been winning in polling for the last 3 or 4 weeks, is first-time voters. We are seeing some record results for first-time voters, especially amongst young men. So these things, if they pan out, with the black male vote also swinging towards President Trump, it could be a momentous day for conservatives.
Yeah, it's fascinating, I suppose. One of my considerations in all of this is the 7 swing states that we are focusing on, understandably, as we await results, where Donald Trump was beating President Biden across really all of them, actually, in terms of the route to the White House. Kamala Harris has put up a decent challenge, it would appear, in all of these, and brought this thing to a knife edge.
Well, not really. What we had in 2020 was the cover of COVID. Shenanigans isn't the word for it. When you send out 81 billion ballots unbidden and say it's because of COVID, that's how you steal an election. They don't have the cover this time, and that's why we're seeing a distinct lack of enthusiasm for Kamala Harris in urban areas, in those swing states, and especially amongst the black population, and most specifically the black male population.
Yeah. What do you make of these security threats that have been reported? They're non-credible bomb threats in various areas, actually, and at various polling stations. I just wonder what you make of that, Seb. It's a disturbing development, despite the fact they're non-credible.
Well, look, I spent 25 years in counterterrorism. I think a lot of these are desperate attempts to undermine the probity of the election. We're used to the Russia hoax for the last 9 years. We've got these reports of Russian attempts.
Let's go back to Alejandra Castile, who served with multiple Democratic presidents, indeed. Alejandra, welcome to the programme.
Yes, good evening. I know it's morning hour there, but as you can imagine, we are on this side of the pond waiting with bated breath these results. So thank you for inviting me.
No, it's great to speak to you. Shall we start with Georgia, where it is this from one of the US networks. Of the fully reported or near reported counties in Georgia, Trump is running between 1 to 3 points better than in 2020. Georgia, one of the crucial swing states, 16 electoral college votes up for grabs here. Does this suggest this is going to be a more challenging night for Harris than she may have wished?
Look, here's what I would say. I would say that we need to make sure that we allow all the votes to be counted. The danger, and I understand, and I invite the media to be cautious. Any premature determination is always we need to be very careful. But the turnout has been spectacular. I was listening to your previous guest. The turnout has been fantastic. The early vote has also been record. And I would say that we're seeing not only the young vote, but we're seeing the various demographics, whether it's African Americans, Latinos, which I hope we will talk about that as well, are coming out to vote for Kamala Harris for many reasons. One is her message of going towards the future and making sure that we continue to build out the economic opportunities for so many people across the country who have been left behind, but also a message of working together, working in partnership, and really turning down this awful rhetoric that has plagued our country's politics for the last, 10 years.
I'm interested in the demographics. You're right. I do want to get into the detail on this. The NBC exit poll on for Georgia on independent voters suggested that Trump would win 54% of independent voters there, and 43% would go to Harris. It's an interesting aspect to this, is where the independent voters are falling.
Yeah, so what I would say is, again, when you look at the broader demographics, I know you're focusing on independent voters, but I also want to bring out that in Georgia, as you probably well know, is a heavily African American. They have deep African American pockets that are not just in places like Atlanta, but across the state. And I would say that the independent voters will, I think you'll see a surprise as you see more of them turning towards Harris. There is definitely a Trump exhaustion on so many levels. And at this point in time, I think the country as a whole is really waiting to see how this very, very tight race breaks through.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. This also from one of the exit polls that the national gender gap looks like it could be around 21 points. Harris winning women by 12 points. Trump winning men by 9 points. And it's worth putting that into the wider context that women are a slightly larger share of the electorate. It's interesting, isn't it? The observation's been made. Harris didn't necessarily campaign explicitly sort of saying, I am a woman, therefore women should vote for me. But I wonder if the issues that she spoke to gave that, were nudging women in that direction.
Look, she campaigned as a person who is going to be a fabulous leader for this country. Now, it is true, we are grappling with some very deep issues that are impacting women in particular in terms of our reproductive rights and what has been occurring since Dobbs, the Supreme Court case. So, I will tell you that she's coming through as a woman who has had a tremendous professional trajectory, someone who knows how to navigate the politics and the policy, and being a very compelling as an attorney, just stating the case in a very compelling manner that this is about not just the state of the union, but also in terms of women and families. Just how important making sure that abortion rights are protected and that we can continue to also advocate for women's health.
Yeah. Just a final one then, Alejandra. How are you describing, I suppose, where you are currently positioning your optimism? Is it reasonable? Is it bearing up under these early results or early indications?
I've worked in campaigns since 1992, and I can narrate all the different campaigns that I've worked on. What is impressive about what Kamala Harris has done in terms of this particular campaign is the on-the-ground operation, the thousands of volunteers, the outreach, the not just the rallies, but making sure that we had the surrogates, that we were actually reaching voters in their homes through various means. So when you look at the ground operation, it is by far truly impressive, and Trump's operation pales in comparison on so many levels. But my enthusiasm is also with regards to the message, the vision, and the trust that I have in how Kamala Harris will lead this country and the opportunities that exist. We do have a lot of challenges, but I know that she's going to put together a fabulous team, and that's where my optimism lies.
Alejandra, really good to speak to you. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.